Hello and welcome everyone again into another video. And in today's video, the video you guys asked for, the top teams in the Open Ultra League. Open Ultra League used to be like the worst league that everyone hates, and surprisingly the last 3 seasons it became the league that everyone love and want to play. Why? It's just the most consistent league. Meta doesn't shift that much, and the Pokemons you use, like, Pokemons can still tank a super effective move, so it's worth risking calling a bait. And there's like some fun Pokemons that people are using, like Virizion, like Charizard, like Ampharos, like Jellicent. Like, there is like the meta is not like very strict, and also there is a room for the skills and a room for improvement to everyone in this league. My name is Yasser Alid. I'm a Twitch streamer. I stream on Twitch every weekend at twitch.tv/YasserAlid, and you can also find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Alid_Yasser. Open Ultra League is a legendary weighted league. Like, there is like some dominating legendary Pokemons, but that doesn't mean that's all you need. No. In fact, at high MMR, there is much less legendaries that people use than non-legendaries. In fact, at high MMR, A/ is dominating. A/, Jellicent, and Shadow Charizard and Swampert are like the most dominant four. The main Pokemons in this cup, I divide them into good leads, good safe swaps, generalist, or good everywhere. Good leads are like those Pokemons you always anticipate their backline with. As an example, Pidgeot. Whenever you see a Pidgeot, there is a steal in the back, either Cobalion or Registeel. Talonflame. Whenever you see a Talonflame, there is an Obstagoon in the back. Scrafty is like, I think Scrafty started falling off the meta. Like, the main reason Scrafty was in the meta is 2 seasons ago when Registeel was everywhere after like the Registeel being featured in Raid, where like Registeel destroy Obstagoon in the 0, in the 1, and the 0-1 down a shield. If you have an XL Registeel, where you just go straight Focus Blast and you can tank as many moves as you want. Well, like with Scrafty does not die to one Focus Blast, so you can actually get Registeel low without even shielding. Ampharos has become more popular with the Jellicent buff. Jellicent in the last season, not this one, the one before, got access to Surf. Now Jellicent has become the best safe swap in this cup because of the fact that you can beat the Poison Darks now straight Surf with some with a Hex Lead or something. Alolan Ninetale is like probably the best Charmer. That's like last season. But this season we're expecting Clefable to be the best Charmer in this cup. Well, to be fair, it's not gonna use Charm, it's gonna use Fairy Wind, right? It has Fairy Wind, Meteor Mash with Dazzling Gleam and Psychic or something. Shadow Machamp, there was only one player that used Shadow Machamp, and it's Wholesome. I think he stopped because now he grinded a new team. Okay, he finally has another team. His old team was very good as long as he's the one who's using it. But now he has more stuff to use. As an example, like Cobalion does not need XLs. That's why Cobalion has become one of the best Pokemons in this cup. It's very dominant, it's too strong, and it doesn't need XLs. You just raid it and you can literally use the raid IV. And it's so spammy with like the access to Double Kick and Sacred Sword. That's the signature move for like Cobalion, Virizion, and Terrakion. Trevenant. I think Trevenant has still some niche use after the nerf. Now Seed Bomb is 6 fast moves instead of being 5 all the time. It does more damage though, but the fact that it's no longer 5, that's like kind of a disadvantage. I think you can replace Trevenant with Cofagrigus now. Cofagrigus is more bulky and has a better matchups against the stuff like Pidgeot. I mean, you still lose hard, but it's not as bad. Okay, you don't take super effective at least, and you dominate other matchups like better than the like. You don't lose other matchups like as a ghost. Like the fact that it's too bulky helps a lot, and with the access to Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw makes it too good. Drapion used to be the best safe swap in this cup until everyone started having a Cobalion. Why? Because Cobalion just wall everything about Drapion, and there was a team that people were using is like Ghost double Poison Dark. You bait out the Poison Dark with a Shadow Skunk, and then you farm it down later with the ghost. Shadow Skunk versus non-Shadow Skunk. I get this debate a lot. I will talk about it later. Walrein. I think they rebalanced Icicle Spear. They gave it more damage now. So matchups like the XL Trevenant should be not as close as it used to be before, but the thing is, Trevenant is no longer meta. Umbreon, I don't want to talk about this Pokemon. I feel like this Pokemon had its spotlight in like the previous seasons, but now there are like better darks, such as Crafty, such as Goon, such as Skunk, such as Drapion. Shadow Snorlax is still very strong. I know not that many people use this Pokemon. It's still very strong. Home Slice Henry featured the team on his channel last season, and that team was too strong. The Deoxys Defense, Guzzlord, and Shadow Snorlax. Regirock, it's kind of like a poor man Registeel, because you don't need XLs to use it, but hey, it's decent. It's too good as well. Giratina is the most dominant legendary. Why? Because if you run Shadow Claw, you can beat Registeel as long as they don't have Flash Cannon. You beat Cobalion, you can beat Crest. Swampert matchup is scuffed because you have to shield the Earthquake to win. Charizard matchup is not good for both. Like, if Giratina has Ancient Power, you beat Charizard horribly. If you don't have Ancient Power, it's a close matchup. And if the Charizard is Shadow, it's even worse for Giratina. That's why I say, if you want to build a Charizard for Ultra League, you need the Shadow. You need the Shadow Charizard just for one matchup. The Giratina, it moved from being a close win to Giratina into like a dominant win to Charizard, because 2 Dragon Claws plus the Wing Attack KOs from Shadow, while 2 Dragon Claws plus the Wing Attack from the non-Shadow does not KO. These aren't the main Pokemons. There are like some Pokemons you could use, such as Sylveon. It's a non-XL Charmer that you could use. It's actually decent. A Drifblim, I have one I would like to use. Now it has access to Mystical Fire, which is basically an Icy Wind clone that is a fire move, which make it more dominant against steel types. And what if steel types are like very dominant in this cup, such as Cobalion and Registeel? Meganium, don't use it. I think it's a horrible Pokemon. Ferrothorn, I think Ferrothorn is too spicy to use in this cup. Yes, it's very excel, but it's too spicy. Same for Empoleon. It's just like the bulk. It cannot compete with those bulky stuff. Obama Snow, I think it still has an issues because there was lots of Trevenant last season and Pidgeot, and you beat both, and everyone almost has a Swampert, and the Charizard matchup is not too bad. So as long as you're the one with the energy lead, you should win. Venusaur, I think it's not that good, to be honest. Greedent. People who use Greedent are the people who don't have a good Shadow Snorlax. Greedent is like more spammy, bulkier. I think it has a better second charge move, which is Crunch. I mean, Snorlax has superpower, but if they have a Steel, they have to respect the back-to-back superpower. With Greedent, they don't need to. But Greedent has the chance to stall the 60-second like a clock. You always, like, even if you get hard counter, you can always stall 60 seconds. Amok is being like the bad version of Skunk. Skunk is much better because of the access to Flamethrower, so you can hit Steel back. So Skunk, do you need a Shadow or non-Shadow? The Shadow is much better against Cobalion. The non-Shadow is better against Jellicent. The Shadow can farm down stuff, same for the non-Shadow, but I think the main matchup is the Cobalion. Shadow is much better against Cobalion, non-Shadow is a bit worse. But again, it's up to you. I don't know. Do you see more Cobalion or do you see more Walrein? If you see more Walrein, then you use the Shadow. If you see more Cobalion, then you use the Shadow. Nidoqueen got a buff. I'm interested to see how good Nidoqueen will be. I mean, it's still 6 to the fast move, but now it does more damage. Dubwool is the non-legendary goat. The other goats are legendaries. Oh, I forgot to talk about Virizion. Virizion was actually decent. And a trainer named Zweilous, he actually hit like top 2, I think, or top 3 on leaderboard during Ultra League with Virizion Double Electric. What's good about Virizion? It's so good. It beats all the steel. It beats all the water. It beats everything that doesn't fly. That's basically it. You beat everything that does not fly. You can beat Tapu Fini. A Gliscor matchup isn't as horrific as it may sound, but it's bad. because the wing attack is double effective. Gliscor became actually a top tier Pokemon at the end of last Ultra League rotation, due to the fact that you wall all the steel and you're not bad against Pidgeot, and it's kind of like a neutral Pokemon that you could always choose. Do you want to win the lead or you want to leave the lead with a shield advantage? G-Fisk is not as dominant just because we have two superior steals, which are Cobalion and Registeel. Deoxys defense disappeared from the meta after Icepan stopped playing the game, because he was the only Deoxys defense user in the game. Como-O used to be good, but after they gave Dragonite superpower, Dragonite just became the superior dragon. I want to see like what's Haxorus gonna do in the current season, because Haxorus now is much better. It's so glassy, but it hits hard and it wins all the neutral matchups because you just debuff to your opponent to the Oblivion. Scav, it's probably the third best counter user in this cup, or the fourth. Now we talked about the top Pokemons. Let's talk about the top meta teams. Okay, let's get serious. The number one budget team. This is not the number one team, but this is the number one budget team. Okay, from now on I will be talking about the top budget team, because not everyone has everything. Not everyone is Diamond Nicest with all the legendaries. This team is extremely good, very solid. Okay. Charizard, double water. Charizard was there to beat the Trevenant. Walrein is there to bait out the Trevenant. Swampert is there to sweep the steel. Okay, the team is low-key weak to Cobalion, and Cobalion with energy lead can run through the entire team, but it's manageable. Okay, your Charizard need to be Shadow. That's another thing you need to be aware of. Why? It's just much more damage, like a lot more damage. And if you are like afraid of the health because you take 20% more damage, you can just use shields, right? So this team is extremely popular. I think some people dropped the Walrein to Tapu Fini. The Jellicent was kind of a code breaker to this team, but Charizard can actually beat Jellicent in the zero if you have a one wing attack, I think, or two. I am not sure about how many energy lead you need, but Shadow Charizard against Jellicent in the zero is not a bad matchup, and you can actually tank a Surf as long as they don't have Bubble, by the way. But the best team on this cup, just like every cup, you know, like in Great League, the best team according to PvPoke is Pelipper double steal. Here it's Pidgeot double steal. But the thing is, you don't have to run a second steal. You could literally run a Virizion or a Swampert in the back with this team. Why? Because people will expect double steal in the back once they see Pidgeot and they see a Cobalion safe swap. So you can just 5-hit them and just don't have a Registeel. And then Swampert or Virizion. I didn't use either of these teams. The team I used last season, I hit legend with, is the Memi team. Memi, like, this is the team Memi uses every season. I think he used to rank the GOAT. What's the name of the GOAT? Memi used to run Dub Wall in the back. And last season, he started running Skunk instead. He runs Double Shadow. And I have two videos on the channel about these. The first video, Memi hit 35-31 MMR with this Double Shadow team. Just type this thing in the YouTube search, and you will get to see that team. This team is extremely fun to use. Okay, Shadow Dragonite is extremely fun to use, but a small mistake, bad timing might cause you to lose the game. And this team, another good thing about this team is like battles are not too long. You know how in Ultra League every battle is just 6 minutes full? No, with this team you don't have to do that. Why? Because Shadow Dragonite just makes everything fast. And the second video I have about this team, I hit legend with this team, Pokemon Go PvP, 3 weeks ago. Okay, just remember this, 3 weeks ago, because you might find like 3, 4, 5 videos about I hit legend with this team. So yeah, this is the team. I'm probably like Dragonite with Jellicent. Those two would be like the team I will be trying, to be honest. I might swap Skunk to a Coffin as well. The best team according to Go Battle Log though, and this is the team I want to talk about, Gliscor with Jellicent and Cobalion. Why Gliscor? Gliscor is the most neutral Pokemon in this cup. Jellicent is the best safe swap, and Cobalion is the best Steel / Generalist in this league. Giratina is kinda tough to beat, but every Pokemon here can beat Giratina at specific scenario. As an example, they have Dragon Breath. Jellicent destroy it. Cobalion isn't bad. If they have Shadow Claw, Gliscor is better against Giratina, and Jellicent can still beat it because Hex Shadow Ball is better than Shadow Claw Shadow Sneak. Another good team was recommended by Go Battle Log, which is the Giratina, Swampert, Cobalion, 3 generalist Pokemons, okay? Giratina is just very neutral Pokemon. If you run Giratina in the lead, I recommend running Dragon Breath because there are so many Pidgeots, and if you run Shadow Claw, you just lose hard. While if you run Dragon Breath, it's just kind of a free lead, and no one tend to run Charm in the lead as well. Another team that was recommended by Go Battle Log. Well, Go Battle Log teams are teams that people use. It's not like their teams, okay? So, Walrein, Charizard, Ampharos. See, 3 accessible Pokemons to everyone. This is a very solid team. ABB Double Electric. I actually run this team in the Ultra League. What's the current one? The Ultra League Summer Cup. And it's extremely fun to use, not gonna lie. Virizion with Ampharos. The first person I think to run this score was Mish on the MX Champ on Twitch. You should check his live stream. And the third one is subjective to change. So she was running like Shadow Drapion, I think, and then what's his name? Ziz Wireless was running Castle, but you could actually run any third here, anything that's another anti-flyer, just to cover your Omega weakness to flying in the lead. Don't let Pidgeot. You mean like don't lead? I think it's don't lead Pidgeot, because Pidgeot is kind of like a huge core breaker to this team. But hey, if you see a Pidgeot, you swap to Giratina, they bring the Registeel back. You go Virizion. With this team, by the way, you need Stone Edge. Why? Because you're extremely weak. You're ABA weak to Pidgeot, so you need Stone Edge. Triple Legendary team. I think it used to be Cresselia, Giratina, Registeel. Now you don't run Cresselia anymore, just run Tapu Fini. It's much better. These are like some old teams that you could still use. Tapu Fini with Coffin and a Steel in the back, or an anti-Steel. I mean, a Steel and anti-Steel, it could be just Cobalion. It's a Steel and it's also anti-Steel. You can find this team on the channel as well. I used to run this team before the Superpowered Dragonite. Now with the Superpowered Dragonite, I think I'm just gonna replace Como with Dragonite and like have a much better team. An A/ team, the most popular ones, like the one that was popularized by A Mind Joke, I think, and Adk once made a video about that team, featuring some battles from A Mind Joke, one of the best players in the world by far. The team is still weak to Tapu Fini, but hey, if usually they swap in Tapu Fini, so you stay in with the A/. All legendary teams in any order. Again, don't use Crest, just use Tapu Fini. But also, if you don't like Jellicent safe swap, you could run Crest and with Grassnut. The BBML just excels. These teams are just excels. Now moving into NCK. NCK runs only one team in every league: Goon, Trevenant, Talonflame. So in the past, it used to be Goon, Venusaur, Talonflame. Trevenant get a buff. He started running Goon, Trevenant, Talonflame. Now Trevenant is nerfed. Sorry, then Charizard get a wing attack buff. Then he stopped running this and he started running this. Now Trevenant got nerfed, so he's gonna get rid of this, and he will add this back. This is an expected team, okay? I'm expecting NCK to run this team because he always replaces the Ghost with the newly buffed Ghost, or he replaces his Fire with a newly buffed Fire. And lower skill than NCK teams, and yes, these teams are low skills. So if you don't have skills, you just want to use easy teams, this is an easy team. Just get a boost in Obstagoon, or get an Ancient Power boost. Or just ask them to have something that's weak to Charizard in the back. Lower skill than NCK. This team is literally just tap. Goon double Charm. Trevenant double Charm. What's the other thing? Skunk Double Charm. Yeah, all of these teams could work. And yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. This is the end of the video. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Peace.